Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Hot in Talks. You're joined tonight by myself, Scott, Aaron, and Jamie. Boys, you all right?
Not too
Good
bad,
man,
mate.
how are you?
Yeah, fine. We obviously haven't done an episode in what seems like forever, really. Last one we did was looking back at the season. We've done end of season awards with Sam and Nathan. We had a little break. England are now out the World Cup, and transfer window's heating up for Aston Villa. So we're gonna although Villa actually haven't signed anyone, it sounds like we're quite close. So we'll start with the three main ones that look like they're incoming. Then we'll talk about the outs, and then there's a couple of questions and a couple of other little rumours kicking about. Let's start with Manzambi from Freiburg. Obviously played against us in the Europa League final. 20 years old. I've heard different figures, but looking at around 50, 60 million. Looked like he was going to Newcastle. That obviously stalled. Villa seemed to have pinched in. 47 games for Freiburg last season in all competitions, 7 goals, 7 assists. And then obviously had his numbers at the World Cup pretty good. 4 games, 3 goals, 2 assists. Didn't start for Switzerland, but obviously worked his way into the team. Jay, I'll come with you first on Manzambi, because you probably know a little bit more. Thoughts on that one?
Yeah, no, I think it's a really good signing. I think, it's probably what you have to pay for someone of, I think the fair's fee. The fee is fair, sorry. I think, it's what you're going to pay nowadays. I touched on what you said about, his World Cup campaign. He was really good, arguably Switzerland's best player. And he didn't even start the tournament. He kind of had to work his way in. Obviously, it's his breakout year. Manager obviously didn't fully trust him, but then I think he came off the bench in the first game. I think it might have been Qatar, or it might have been the second game. Scored a brace and then didn't take him out after that. So yeah, it shows he can do it on the highest level, which is obviously what you want. If you can do it in the World Cup, you can do it anywhere. Season for Freiburg was good. I think he got 11 in all comps. But overall, I'm really excited. A bit different to kind of what we've got. If I had to compare him to a player, I'll probably say someone like a Jacob Ramsey, but with a bit more bite about him. A bit more.
Not say Jack.
Possibly, yeah, but he has that maverick in him. But in the sense of his ball carrying, I think the way he carries the ball up the pitch, I think emulates what JJ did for us. And he's very mature, I think, in out of possession as well, in the sense that, well, you saw with obviously in the lead up to the Freiburg final, I've done a bit of looking into what they do, and out of possession they were very well drilled, and they had to be in that team, and so I think that's probably something Emery's looked at, that he's very mature out of possession. The fact that he loves tracking back, he loves getting involved in a tackle. Has a bit of a hot streak about him, which obviously we've been through before with the likes of Duran and a few other players. But I feel like we need a bit of that in our team. Like, we're going to talk probably about Joao Palhinha soon, but it's a bit like that. We need some players that have a bit more fight in them. I feel like a lot of times we're a bit too nice, a bit too pretty. So for me, I'm all over it. Box to box midfielder. He can play out wide as well. He isn't predominantly an out wide player. He's better central as like a number 8. So he could play alongside a sitter in the double pivot. He could play in the 10. He could play, if he had to, either side out wide as well. So yeah, has a bit of pace, but his number one attribute, I would say, is his ball carrying.
Yeah, Azzy, your thoughts when you heard the news on this one? Kind of come out of nowhere, didn't it?
Yeah, come out of nowhere, but one that I think is the new route that we're going down with, what we're looking to bring into the club now. A couple of the older guys leaving and bringing in a bit more youth into the team. I haven't really seen much of him. Obviously, the final against us, which I thought he'd done okay. You can tell he was good with the ball and the way he carried the ball. Saw a couple of Switzerland's games in the World Cup. Like Jay said, he's probably their standout player from what I saw. So yeah, really if we do get it over the line, really good sign, I think, and the way that we should be moving forward with the age that we're signing, the sort of players that we're looking to bring in.
Yeah, I was listening to a couple of other podcasts. They were saying that he's the most felt player in the Bundesliga last season, which probably tells you that it's hard to get the ball off him, and two, he doesn't mind a bit of physical contact for only being 20. It's quite nice.
I think he averaged something like just over 2 fouls a game against him, so I think that's really good.
He was fouled something like 70 odd times.
Yeah, 72 times, I think. Yeah,
didn't play every game. I think he played about 30 something so in the league. So obviously tells you, good ball carrier. We'll obviously get on to Rodgers because there's a bit of news breaking about that tonight, but we don't really have many ball carriers in our team, and I think he'll obviously help with that. It would just be where Emery sees him playing, and have Villa got the patience for him to maybe take a bit of time to adapt. It's obviously a big fee. It'd be a record transfer fee for Villa. But you are going to have to remember he's only 20, not played in England before. So, we have seen it with some players, Gasson, for example, where you just think, nah, no good. But you'd like to think Villa fans would get behind him. And, it's nice for Villa to sign a 20-year-old that not just teams in England are talking about, but obviously more of a national scale as well. So, we're on a national scale. So if we get that one done, both happy with that?
Yeah, very happy.
Yeah, like as he said, the profile we need. I don't think we're at that, top table of clubs yet. So you as long it's not nice talking about, but you need to look at resale value.
Yeah.
You need to bring players in that if Manzambi plays well, he can be sold in 2 years for double the price. That's the kind of the mindset you have to have at the minute, because we're not at that. We're not shopping at that top table yet. So we need to bring these players in instead of bringing in 29-year-olds that we'll have for 2 years and then you sell for quarter the price. I'm very happy with it. I think a lot of Villa fans are, to be fair. It brings a bit of flair to our team. So, buzzing with it.
Okay, the two then, with the two more to really talk about. One that come out of nowhere today, and I think it was John Townley broke it. Joao Gomez from Wolves, 36 million. 25 years old, 116 Premier League games in total, 7 goals. You'd probably think he's not a direct replacement for Tielemans, but he's the replacement for Tielemans, and we'll probably come on to it later, how we will probably play slightly different this season in terms of build-up and style of play. When this one came out earlier, I was fairly happy with it. I think that's a good price, good age again, like we were saying about lowering the age of the squad. Although Wolves have been relegated in a crap season, every time I've seen Joao Gomez, I think he's busy, he gets around the pitch, he's got a bit of needle, bit of class on the ball. Azzy, when that broke today, thoughts on that one?
Bit of both, really. Is it? I don't think he's been brought in as a starter personally. It all depends obviously on our financial situation, obviously what we can bring in at the moment. But yeah, from what I saw of Wolves, he's done okay. Does it excite me? No. I just hope the players that we bring in, like a Joao Gomez, that Emery can do what he does with all the other players that he sort of brought in and got the best out of them, or and existing players. So yeah, for me, it's just one to look at and see how Emery brings him on, see how he develops under Emery, and hopefully for the price that we got, it's the same price as Tielemans, isn't it? But I wouldn't put him on the same scale as Tielemans. Like you said, he's a different player, so willing to give him a chance, but not overly excited about it personally.
I mean, that surprised me because there was a lot of teams sniffing around him on the rumour mill. Jay, are you a bit more optimistic about that one?
Yeah, I can see where Azzy comes from. It's not a signing like... It's weird because it's not like... I think he's at the standard that we are at, but not to start week in, week out. He's not like a Tielemans replacement. He's not at that level of Tielemans, but he will offer something different. He does have that bite in him. He has that nasty streak in him, which, again, we lack a lot, I think. I I think he had the most tackles in Europe's top 5 leagues last season, and he was up there again this season. So he loves that physical contact, which is what we need. Again, not like Tielemans, but a lot of Villa fans predicting we might have to play a little bit different. One thought I had with him was that obviously, I think I said to you, Scott, last season when Booba was fit and he was just playing consistently. I said to you that I think Booba can play higher up. I think like he's not wasted, but I don't think sitting at the base of the midfield is his best position. I think he could play as an 8. And obviously now he's got Tielemans' number as the 8. I think we could see maybe a double pivot of Joao Gomez and Kamara. And Kamara's doing that Tielemans role, obviously not as great because no one's going to pass the ball like Tielemans. I don't think we're going to be able to replace that, but you might get Booba being that more slightly advanced, not, last ditch runs into the box, but just that one that has a bit more freedom further up the pitch. And then you might just get Gomez marshalling at the base of the midfield. The other thing I noticed is that he's really good in a double pivot. I don't know if any of you remember his partnership with Andre at Wolves. That them two seem to have a good connection. Whenever I watch Wolves play, them two were the standouts for me. Just the way that they kind of linked up together, which obviously suits us because we always play with a double pivot.
I heard a lot of people say that they would have preferred Andre, but me personally, even I'm not excited about it, I think I would have preferred Joao Gomez
Oh no, yeah,
over Andre myself.
Yeah, I'd 100% prefer Joao Gomez. I feel like it was the case of, what we used to say about Tyrone and Ezri. Was it Tyrone and Ezri? And we said that he used to elevate his game. And it's a similar thing. I feel like Andre next to Joao Gomez. When Joao Gomez is playing, it raises Andre's game. If you take Andre out and put someone else in, I still feel like Joao Gomez would be the same player. But if you swap it over, I feel like Andre would have a dip. That's just my personal opinion. But I think United last year, I think they were sniffing around him, but Wolves asked for 60 and they didn't, and they said no. But yeah, I think this season, early on in the window, I think it was Atletico Madrid.
Yeah,
They're after him, but then they couldn't. But he is like a Diego Simeone player. Like if he was in the Argentina team last night, you wouldn't have thought any. Like he is that type of player, which again is what we need. So good age. Again, we're in that market where if he's with us for 3 years and we sell him for 80, 85 million, which there is potential there because of the caliber of clubs that are sniffing around him, then I'm happy with that because if he's worth that much in 3 years, he's obviously done really well for us. Great age and yeah, good price for what the player he is. Because if they're still in the Prem, you're talking another third on top of what we paid today. So yeah, I'm happy.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty good signing, to be fair. Like you said, I can see a slightly different role for Booba. Would it be that Joao Gomez is a more competitive out of the two and Kamara's maybe playing in like the quarterback role that he kind of likes to do, but he doesn't necessarily have to be the one always breaking the play up. Because we are obviously going to have to manage his physical output. We don't want him picking up another big injury. We'll obviously come on to Joao Palhinha as well, but Gomez definitely adds a bit of energy, and I would say the one thing that between Onana, Tielemans, and Kamara we lacked last season was that little bit more energy in the middle. But I would then also at that and say we're probably losing a bit more technical aspects, obviously, than what Tielemans would bring us. So pros and cons to it. But
I think what it gives, sorry, Scott, I think what it gives you is options. I mean, the two players we mentioned there can both play in a double pivot. You've got Barkley, McGinn can play there, Booba can play there, Lindelof can play there. We're going to talk about Joao Palhinha, he can play there. We have these options where you might have a game where, okay, we're going to be up against a low block, so you might play a Booba and Barkley, for example.
Yeah.
Or you might have a game away from home and you might go Booba and Joao Gomez, or you might go Paulinha and Gomez and just be two rats in the middle, just warriors just absolutely going for it. Like it gives us options, and I think with a season where we got Champions League, which we need to go deep in for money reasons, really. and you've got the Prem, which is obviously always number one priority. We need to do better in the domestic cups. So if you're fighting on all four fronts, you need depth in midfield, and the way we play midfield is the area where it's getting ragged around. Everything goes through the middle. So yeah, like he says, I think it's a good signing. I really do.
Okay, and the other one that's kind of come out today, I've seen different reports. Some are saying that he's talk, some are saying it's just it's an interest, but we'll talk about it anyway. Joao Palhinha has obviously gone back to Bayern. I think Tottenham potentially had an option to buy, but he gone big on Tonali and Fernandez, so maybe a slightly different approach for them as well. 31 years old, played over 100 games in the Prem for obviously Fulham and Spurs last season. When this one come out, Jay, I'll come to you. Thoughts on this one?
I'm all over it, honestly. I think it's like the Lindelof thing last year. I think it's exactly what we need. And it seems weird because the reputation Joao Palhinha has with Villa fans is very bad. He's basically tried to assassinate our whole entire team. The latest one being Booba. So, but again, I'll go back to it. It's exactly what we need. We need players in there that are just absolute animals because we lack that so much. Set piece threat. He'd offer. I was speaking to a Spurs fan earlier, and I was like, "What's your take on him?" And he said he was a fan favourite. He said everyone loved him. He said he's at the end of the day, he was brought in under Frank, and he ain't a deserving player because his only the area of the game he's lacking is that of he ain't that technically great. He'll get the ball and he'll just give it side to side. He ain't going to be the ones that's going to be threading through passes into Ollie's feet or whatever. He's not that type of player. He literally battles for the ball, wins it, and then just sets it the easy pass. So definitely not a De Zerbi player. I think that is coming to why they haven't gone in for him. I'm hearing loan with an option to buy. That's what I saw. I think his contract's up in 2028. So I can't imagine a buy option if there was one being that great. But even if it was a straight loan, I'd be happy because he gives us that cover for Onana, and then when he goes back to Bayern Munich, Onana comes in. But again, you have that buy option if he comes in and he's superb, which I thought he was okay for Tottenham last year, especially against us. Even at their ground and our ground, he was superb. So I'd be happy with a buy option if it's low. And yeah, I think it's what we're lacking: height, which covers for Onana, and that nastiness that we're lacking.
Yeah, I went on to Pure Coys TV to do a podcast last season at the start of the season with a Tottenham fan, and I said Paulinha was their best signing that they'd made because if you're getting the Paulinha was at Fulham, he was absolutely unbelievable to the point that whenever we play Fulham, you think, "Oh, please don't let Paulinha play," because he did break it down. I thought he did okay for Tottenham last year. Popped up with a couple of important goals. Definitely kind of dragged them through on occasion. Definitely something that we're lacking in terms of bite, other than probably Guinea, and you could probably throw Mings into that, but we don't have a lot of players. We're just a very nice football team, aren't we? So I think it ticks a lot of boxes. Loan with an option. Happy day, experience, good. He played in the Champions League before. Makes sense, really. As are your thoughts on that one?
No, I agree with everything you say. I'll be happy to sign him. Like you said, we just don't really have that midfielder in there that's going to snap someone's leg, if you know what I mean, to win the ball, which we don't have.
That's literally what he done against us, so it's okay for us to say if he does sign.
So yeah, a few apologies to the Villa boys, and yeah, I'll be all over it if we just a loan will be fine, or like Jay said, with a year to go at the end of his loan on his contract to Bayern Munich, depending on the fee, you'll be all over it, wouldn't you? But yeah, really happy with that one.
Yeah. So as we stand right now, we're recording this Thursday, whatever the time is, 8:30. Obviously, no one's actually signed yet. Manzambi and Joao Gomez, we are led to believe that medicals are maybe today for Manzambi and tomorrow for Joao Gomez. The rumour for Palhinha is obviously getting stronger. The other kind of biggest rumour kicking about is Estupiñán. That is at AC Milan. He's had a season there since he moved to Brighton. We'll get on to outs in a second, but obviously it looks like Luca Dean's going out to PSG, which would mean Estupiñán coming in. If we did complete on that, good business, because I think Maatsen obviously needs to really be nailing it down, but another good option if that is who they bring in as Luca Dean replacement.
Yeah, I really liked him at Brighton. So I'll be all over that. If we did sign him, I haven't seen the cost that's been going around. Do you know how much has been rumoured or not?
Rumoured to be 15, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not a lot, is it? But I thought he was one of Brighton's better players when he was at Brighton. And he only left a year and a half ago. I think he left in the January window, didn't he? Not last year, not this season just gone, but the season before. But yeah, I think he's a really good player personally, so I'll be really happy with that. And like you said, we need another left back. Maatsen can't do it all. FA Cup, League Cup, Champions League, Premier League. So we're definitely going to need another left back if Digney goes. And I reckon he fits the bill. And he's played under. Has he played under Emery before? I think he has, hasn't he?
Villarreal.
Yeah, Villarreal. So Emery knows him, doesn't he? So I'll be all over it.
Gives that physical presence as well, because again he has that bite as well. I don't know if you remember him in the Prem. He was always.
He scored some good goals as well for Brighton.
He did, yeah. In that season where they were, I think it was the year we qualified for the Conference League. He was probably the best left back in the league, and he's popping up some good goals, and he's always in the heated moments as well. He was always getting at it. So again, whether Emery's looking at that as we need a few more warriors in the team. It's a slightly different profile, and the age-wise is that he's 28. But I think that's perfect because Maatsen's on the younger side, so it provides that good balance. I think he's only on 80k a week at Milan. They're in absolute turmoil at the minute. I think obviously Max Allegri's gone and to Napoli, and they've only just got Amorim in, but they have no board members there, so they're basically just everything's an absolute shit show there at the minute. So I can understand why he wants out. The only negative is that I went to watch Milan-Napoli at the start of last season, and he got sent off and gave away a penalty. So that's the only bad thing.
Luca Dean loves giving away a penalty as well.
Yeah, it can't be much worse than Luca Dean. But no, short and sweet of it, I'd love him to sign. I think it gives really good balance for our team.
Just subplot. Aaron, have you just looked to see what Dad's put in the Villa chat?
Yeah, but I clicked off it, so I went off.
We'll quickly have a look, just because we might have some live breaking news here.
I'll put Do Not Disturb on.
You never know. Filter of not Dad. All this.
So Fabrizio Romano, Gomes will sign tomorrow at Villa after medical, following 40 million plus 5 million add-on deals. All agreed, as reported this morning. Aston Villa maintain contact active also for Joao Palhinha. And understand Aston Villa agreed personal terms of Estupiñán, who wants to move to Aston Villa. Negotiations continue with AC Milan to agree on a fee, as Unai Emery wants Purvis as a replacement for Luca Dean.
I'm assuming that's euros, is it? 40 million euros?
Yes. Sorry, did I say pounds? Sorry.
No. You just said 40 million. I was assuming it was euros.
Okay, so as then what Fabrizio was saying, and he's a tier 8, he's tier 1 journalist.
I don't know if he's tier 1 after last season. Do you remember he done the Here We Go for Lucas Paqueta?
A couple of bad ones, didn't he? But it looks like Joao Gomez tomorrow. I think Manzambi's medical was today, so hopefully maybe him tomorrow.
I don't think he was due into Birmingham until I think it was 8:45 tonight. Manzambi.
Okay, so maybe him tomorrow.
On the old Sky scanner.
Yeah, too right.
Okay, well, if that is the case, and Estupiñán as well is obviously looks like that might be getting done. That would mean Luca Dean going out. We'll get.
If you just think of that left back, was to say we're selling Digney, it's meant to be 10 million, so we spent 5 million extra on a younger, similar sort of player with Premier League experience. So I'll be all over that personally.
I think. Sorry, that the price for Luca Dean, that Fabrizio came out and said apparently it's 8 million in his contracts, the 8 million. But I think if you're getting 8 to 10 for someone of his age and his wages and the performance he put in against Spain, you can't go wrong.
He's 33 soon. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, this is what I mean. It's the wages as well. Like, you have to realise that I worked out, I put in the group chat the other day how much wages we'd save signing Manzambi and Estepinian and selling Digne and Tielemans. The amount of wages we were saving were absolutely ridiculous, and we've lowered the average age of the squad by 15 years, or 14 years. So it's incredible.
Let's touch on the Yori one then, because I'm gutted with it. I can try on board with all of that arguments in the group for that day where he was, making every excuse for it to be a good sale. But the thing that gets me is obviously the release clause. You never put it. Surely that's probably. I get it's one of the reasons he probably signed the contract initially. Fine, but Monchi, surely, even 50 million. But listen, he scored the goal in Istanbul. As far as I'm concerned, he gets my well wishes. He doesn't do a lot at United, but for the 3 years that he's been at Villa, what a player.
Yeah, he's one of them, innit? You're sending away your best wishes. I think over the 3 years that he's been with us, obviously I know he sort of struggled at the first season to get into the squad, but once he was in the squad, he's always been one of our most consistent performers, and since he's come into Villa. He also didn't he say he wanted to ring Unai Emery personally as well to make sure and stuff like that. So it goes to show like how respectful he is to us, the club, obviously, and like you said, send him off with our best wishes. Hope he does shit when he plays against us, but it's a signing that makes sense. It didn't cost us anything, so it's all profit. So it's one of them that it makes sense to happen. He's not getting any younger, is he? So, but yeah, give him my best wishes. But when you play against us, you break your leg.
That's why we got Joao Palhinha in.
It's a tough one. I think the thing is we've had him at probably the peak of his powers. Like you said, the first season as he struggled slightly, and I think that's more just the adaptation of Emery's system. But if you go back to when we signed him on a free transfer, granted, and on big wages, but Leicester fans were saying at the end of that season that we signed him, his legs gone, he can't run, he can't pass, he's finished. But let's be honest, for a free transfer, you could toy it up. Who's been a better free transfer, him or Booba? But it's a great bit of business, and he'll go down in history for the volley against Freiburg, no matter what he does for the rest of his career. He'll obviously have a big place in a lot of Villa fans' hearts for what he did in Istanbul. So,
but when United come calling, you don't think twice. Fuck off.
The trouble is with that is he's obviously not thinking about Villa there. He's got to say nice things because it's all going to the new club. Like we'd expect Manzambi to say, oh, when Villa come, always wanted to go there. And if you were Newcastle, you'd be just saying what you said. So shit like that don't bother me. I think he's been classy. He seems like a classy character. But like you said, wish him well, but let's hope he has a shocker against us. Jay, thoughts on it? Got any more?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's kind of been swept under the carpet a little bit, just with how all the signings that we're making at the minute. You've got Paulinha, Manzambi, Gomes sort of coming into that to kind of fill the void. I think from a financial perspective, without getting too deep into it, he has 2 years left on his deal, big wages. You get £35 million pure profit now, or if you give it another year, no one's going to be paying that for a 30-year-old, and then he leaves on a free the year after. So I feel like we needed the money to be able to spend what we're doing. So I'm happy with him going in the sense that someone needed to go for us to sign the likes of Estepinian, Manzambi, Joao Gomez, and if it's Tielemans, and that's what they look at as the most sort of how much money are we going to get now to another 2 years' time? And if that's the most profitable one, then I'm all for it. I've always said from since we've had Emery that we can lose anyone. As long as we keep Emery, I think we'll be okay. We'll keep challenging for those European places. So he'll find a way. It might be the case, we don't know how we're going to play next season, and it might be a bit unnervy for the first few months, like it was last season. But he finds a way out of everything. So yeah, I think whether it's Booba pushing on a bit more or someone else comes in that we don't know yet, or Barkley steps up, I really don't know. But he'll find a way out of this, and we'll be just fine without Tielemans.
I think it just goes to show how important the win was when winning the league. Is that group of players now has something to show for it, and we've been saying for the last 6 months, 12 months, we do need a revamp of the squad and a bit of a freshen up, and that's why I think Istanbul is so important. And yes, it's shit when certain players leave, and especially when they're very good players. But so far we've lost. Obviously, Yori's gone. Looks like Luka Dean's going to go. Marlon's money's coming, or Marlon going on a permanent. Baron Achaya's gone.
Barry, Dobbin.
Barry, Dobbin. So we've bought money in, and I don't think we're done yet. Tonight they're saying
I still think we're light. So
tonight they're saying about Morgan Rogers and Arsenal stepping up the interest. Now, Jay, you put on them our little village, didn't you? Just take 130 million and move on. Do we think?
Yeah, it's. Sorry, go on, Scotty.
I was just going to say, do we think? I still don't see Arsenal paying that money. Do we think that we'll get to somewhere where Villa get a fee they want and Arsenal pay money for it? Because I see they were a deal for Tzolis, whatever his name is, from Club Brugge, the winger as well today. Do you think? Well, basically, my question is: do you think Rodgers will be a Villa player come the end of the window?
I do, yeah. I can't see Arsenal spending that amount of money on a player that doesn't start for his country. I think you spend 130 million pounds on a player who he isn't a starter. For me, I feel like in the grand scheme of things, he isn't worth 130 million pounds. But with the way the prices have gone this summer, and you're seeing what Anderson's gone for, and you see what Mateus Fernandes and Tonali's gone for, you're like, well, maybe 130 is fair. If it was my choice, I wouldn't sell him. And hopefully, it was just before the World Cup. It was Fabrizio Romano when he first reported about Arsenal's interest. He said Rodgers would be happy to go to Arsenal, but he's not going to force for a move. And if that's the case, I'd happily keep him and knock away all interest. But if Arsenal did come in with an offer close to that 130 million pound mark, and he was like, okay, I'm going to go, then I'd happily let him go, get all that money, and reinvest it. Because if you look, out wide we are threadbare, and we need a new right. We need a right back to help with Kashi's load. Wingers, we have zero pace when you think about it. We need two out-and-out wingers, really. Again, we're going to be competing on all fronts, hopefully, so we need depth in our squad. And if selling Rodgers provides us with the funds to do that, then so be it. But if it was my choice, I wouldn't sell him. And hopefully he doesn't push for the move, because if he pushes for the move, then that could possibly bring the price down, and there's loads of complications. But yeah, I can't see Arsenal paying that money. That it's ridiculous money in the grand scheme of things.
Is he going to be a Villa player coming into the window?
I think he is. Yes. The only thing I will say is, if it is going to happen, we need it to happen sooner rather than later. We don't want it to be like a week before the end of the transfer window, and then we got to try and find replacements. But then on the other hand, if I said to you, sell Rodgers for 130, but then you get in Marcus Rashford in and another attacking midfielder, it's another argument to have. Do you know what I mean? That 130 million, if Arsenal are willing to pay, could go a long way for us. And rather than just having Rodgers, we could be improving 2 or 3 areas in our squad. So I think it's a difficult one. But I do think, with the way that Emery uses Rodgers in every single game and the way Emery loves Rodgers, I don't think he'll be an Arsenal player, and I think he'll be a Villa player at the end of the transfer window.
I think when Arsenal come calling, Emery's going to be saying to whatever his fucking name is, Alabi or whatever, he's going to be saying, look, you have to put back this interest as much as you can, because he's my number one guy. He said, if they're not offering 130 million up front, not none of this bloody 110 with 20% sell-on clause, and we'll give you fucking some academy player. Like if they're not offering 130 up front, not interested. He's my number one player. Without him, you know, he's Emery's golden boy, isn't he? So I don't think he will go. But if he does go, like you were just saying, as if you can see who we were going to sign, like if I knew that we were going to sign, for example, like if he goes and we sign Rashford and Mika Gods from Ajax, and we signed Anaki Williams, for example, from Bilbao, hypothetically speaking, if we sign like 2 of the 3 of those players, then I'd happily let them go. But you just don't know how it would pan out. And if it happens late in the window, people know we've got money to spend. Their prices go up, so then for their players, so then you're struggling and you're overpaying for a player. And then if you get rid of Rodgers and you bring in like a, say, Somerville and Bowen, is that great? I don't think so. So it's all in hindsight, hypothetically speaking. But for me, I just wouldn't sell him because, especially the longer it goes on, it's just, it drags out, and that's just really not what we want.
If I offered you 2 now, we sell Rodgers, but we get Rashford and Bowen, is that a yes or a no for you two?
It's a no from me personally. There's no resale value on either of them. Big wages as well.
No, I
Rashford, the Rashford deal, I don't think we can do.
I'm just using that as an example, if you know what I mean.
Oh, okay, sorry. Yeah. It's just, his wages will blow us out of the fucking water.
Really, I think Villa are in a win-win situation. If someone wants to pay the money, as long as they invest it wisely in 2 or 3 good players, then you're winning. And if they don't want to pay the money, you've got probably one of the best young players in the league still. So it's all about, if he does, who they bring in to replace him, whether it works out for us or not. And there's nothing to say he goes to Arsenal and plays like he plays for Villa. So
let's get Jack back in. Let's sort it out for us.
Well, do you know what? I've thinking about that as we were talking. Is there a little left fielder out there somewhere? Not as in like a left field player, but is there a little left field option that will just pop up? But
I'll have Grealish back any day of the week.
We've had a couple of questions from Kevin Crawley, up the Crawley. One was about when we obviously probably looking at the squad now, need a right back for Matty Cash cover, and we need at least 1 winger, if not 2, depending on maybe the Rodgers situation. Who would you pick if you had the choice and a realistic target off the top of your head? A lot of links to Somerville today. I'm not sure about that one personally. I think he's okay, but he's a bit inconsistent for me. But if you had 1 name each for a winger and you had probably, I don't know, 40 to 50 million to spend.
For me, I know, like James said, there's no resale value at Jarrod Bowen for me. But if you're going down like the younger route, I don't know. So I'll go with Bowen.
Joe?
I can see Azzy's point with Bowen because there is no resale value, but with Bowen, he brings you imminent goals, and he's going to give you at least 15 plus goals a season. So he gives you the here and now. If maybe you get him and 2 younger wingers, I don't know. For me, my one has. I was talking to people on social media a few weeks ago, and my number 1 target. We haven't been linked with him. It's such a shame, but Mika Gods from Amsterdam. It will cost about 50 million, but he is unbelievable. But I think what I was saying earlier, he's in that market above. Like the team's looking at him at the minute. I don't think we could compete with, but that's who I would go for. Perfect the way for Emery's system off the left, but realistic. If he was to go, someone like a Somerville, because he can play in numerous positions. He isn't my cup of tea. Like I'm with you. I'm with you guys. Like if we sign him, it wouldn't. I liked him at Leeds, but I weren't wowed by him at West Ham, and
very inconsistent. When he looked good at West Ham, he looked, but then most of the time he wasn't on form.
Yeah, and he was okay at the World Cup. He scored that good goal. I can't remember who it was against, but just for me, he isn't that level where, like, you look where last time we were in the Champions League, we had Duran was obviously having that purple patch, he was scoring all the time. So you looked at Duran and thought, we'll win this game. Obviously, that was Morgan's sort of breakout year. So you had Morgan, you're like, oh, yeah, we're going to do this. Same with Tielemans, Kamara, and you had all these talent, and you get rid of Tielemans, you get rid of Rodgers, and it's like all of a sudden if you're replacing it with a Somerville, and then you've got I know we've been bigging them up, but then you have like a Joao Gomez and a Joao Palhinha, and you're there, and you're like, we need that bit of wow factor. I really don't know who we could get that off from who we've been linked with, but how Villa do business is that it comes out of nowhere. It really does. So for all we know, Rodgers could be well on his way to having his medical at Arsenal, and we've already got someone lined up for 70 million that we have no idea about. Because we saw it today with Gomez, Manzambi happened like that. Like your old
We
man
keep it
said,
very quiet, don't we?
no one ever
We
knows.
keep quiet.
Yeah, it's like just historically, that's just how we do things, which is good. But for us, it's a bit like you get a notification on your phone, you're like, oh shit, but yeah, realistic, I really don't know. Dream signing would be Mika Gods from Amsterdam, from Ajax Amsterdam, but realistic, I really don't know. The similar thing with Tielemans, we won't be able to replace Rodgers.
Same question for you, Scott.
Different players.
I would take Bowen. I think he guarantees you at least 10 to 12 goals. You know what you're getting. The one thing I like with the three we mentioned earlier, Manzambi's a bit different because he's only 20 and he's obviously, just starting out really. But Joao Gomez and Paulinha have both played a lot of games in the Premier League, which I think helps. With Bailey, when that first season he come in, not used to the Prem. We've seen it with other players that come in from abroad. It takes a while to get going. So I think Bowen's a good shout. Somerville, like I said, he's in fits and spurts. Yes, looks good. He's quick, but too inconsistent. I would like us to sign an out winger that's going to hug the touchline. The trouble is you don't get many of them anymore. So they're kind of few and far between. I would, and again, the wages would probably fuck it, so we probably wouldn't be able to, but would seriously think about taking Garnacho.
No chance.
Do you know what? Yeah, is that I've always rated Garnacho, right? And whenever he plays against Villa, he always tears us a new one. But then every Chelsea fan I speak to, as he's gone now, he's like, "Oh, fucking Garnacho." But every Chelsea fan I speak to, they say he's awful. He blah blah blah. Like they want him at his club. Thinks he's better than what he is. Blah blah blah. And it's like, okay, but the market we're in, if he was to come in, show the levels that I think he can, and probably you think as well, Scott. I've spoken to my dad. My dad hates him with a passion, but he says he's a brilliant.
Can I say one thing, Joe? So you said about Arsenal not wanting to go for like Rodgers, who's not starting for his country. So why are we going to do one? Don't even get into the Argentinian squad. Do you know what I mean?
I think that's more political because if what's that?
We're at that level. Arsenal are fighting for Premier Leagues. We're fighting for top four.
Yeah, my point as well is that it's very political in the Argentina team. Like Buendia should have been in that squad. He wasn't. You get the likes of Paredes and Rodrigo de Paul are in that team. They shouldn't be in there, but let's be real. Whoever Messi wants, he'll get in that team. So for all we know, if Messi and Garnacho aren't on the same wavelength, that's him out the team. It's just the way it is. So I wouldn't look too much into that. But for me, if you could get the right fee because they want to sell him, I'll be all over Garnacho as well. I feel like someone under Emery could kind of coach that bullshit out of him. But again, the market we're in, like I was saying about Joao Gomez and Manzambi, he comes in and for 2 years he's on fire, and we sell him for 85 million to Real Madrid in 2 years' time. I'm all for it, but again, the wages will. You're reducing the wages of the players.
I don't see him as an Emery player. He doesn't trap back. No, not for me.
The other name I'll throw out quick, need to be quick because my battery's off, is, and I know you said earlier no, but I would think Martinelli.
Really?
I just think as an out-and-out winger that has a touchline, and if Emery is finally tuning him, then yeah.
I would take him.
I just really don't rate him. I really don't. He has the pace and he is an out-and-out winger, but when he runs at his man, I don't think he's got the beating of him here. I don't know. I don't see it for me personally, but that's the whole point of the podcast and opinions. I think like if he came in, I'd back
You're
him
allowed
100%.
opinions in
He's
Scott,
still a
mate.
player,
Trust me.
but...
It's mine.
Allowed opinions in Scott.
The only thing, Scotty, I'd say, sorry, is obviously you said about your battery. The only thing I'd say regarding the right back situation, Cash is obviously number one. We all know that he's arguably player of the season last year. I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Tristan Rowe because he had a good season last year. I know it's second tier in France, nothing like the Premier League. But I think in terms of right backs, I think we're going to have a few weeks pre-season gone, a couple games out in Asia. And then once we're mid-tour in Asia, and then when we're coming back after that Bayern Munich game, I think that's when we'll know if... Because Tristan Rowe will either stay and be back up or he'll go out on loan and we'll recruit another right back in because... I was impressed with him last pre-season, but obviously Emery thought we weren't ready. Put him into the French second tier. I can't pronounce FC Annecy. Annecy. I can't
Annecy,
pronounce.
innit? Is it Annecy?
Yeah,
Annecy?
Annecy, something like that. Yeah, which we've now got a partnership with because Aquino Redmond and someone else have gone out there. Caden Young went out there, but I would just hold fire on the right back because I like Tristan Rowe as the captain of our FA Cup youth winning side. It's about time we see some players brought through our academy. So I think give pre-season a couple of weeks, see what Tristan Rowe's about, and then we might not have to bring another right back in because we've already got one in house. That's all I'll say on the right backs because I don't think the market for right backs is quite niche at the minute because like Dumfries has gone.
Yeah. Really.
Eh?
There's not many out there, and Cash is going to be.
No, there isn't. Oscar Mingueza as well. He would have been perfect and played right or left back, free agent, but for whatever reason, again, he probably wanted more wages. That's probably why we couldn't
see that Sunderland signed Mounier. I thought he could have been a good option, but maybe too old. And I think we just have to. You've obviously got.
And they're putting some big wages down as well, Sunderland.
Yeah. We did have one more question, and I'm literally on 6%. It is from Luca Prasek, if I've said that right. How are we lining up right now? Just quickly run through the team between all three of us.
Martinez, Cash, Konza, Mings, Esputian, Paulinha, Kamara, Rogers, Buendia, McGinn, Watkins.
Jay?
Very similar to ours. First, like you're on about Super Cup, yeah? Or like first game of season?
Villa player.
I forgot Manzambi. Swap Manzambi in there for Gomes.
Manzambi, Gomes, Paulinha.
You didn't even say Gomez as.
No, Scott's rushing me. As long as Torres don't start, I don't care.
I'd go for Emmy in goal, Cash, Consa, Torres. I'll probably say Matson. I'll go Kamara, and first game of season, I feel probably be Kamara and probably Barkley. He'll play the players that he trusts. And then you probably have McGinn, Rogers, Buendia, then Watkins.
Okay. I see where you've gone with that, Jay. So as we're lining up right now, that's the answer to that. Right, that'll do us for now.
Oh, what's your squad, Scotty?
Okay, mine would be Emmy, Cash, Consa, Pau, Joao Gomez, Kamara, Manzambi, Rogers, McGinn, Ollie.
That's a good front four. Like when you have Manzambi in there, but then you can't forget Buendia was probably our best player those last 4 or 5 games. He was unbelievable. I know you can't rely on him throughout the season being that consistent, but he was so good.
I just think on paper that would be what I would strongest.
Yeah.
You know, how fit Kamara is and blah blah blah. But yeah. Right. Like I said, that'll do. We'll be back maybe next week or the week after as things start progressing.
When we've signed Rashford and Bowen.
Yeah, innit? Yeah. Thanks for watching.
So Torres.
We will be back soon. Up the Villa from me. Up the Manzambi. Up the Joao Gomez. Up the fucking Villa.
Up the Lindelof.
Up the Villa. Bye, Torres.